Hi, and welcome back to Plant-Based Food Fun with Albreon. I had the pleasure of going to the Hallelujah Festival over the weekend, and I got to share some recipes and some really great conversation with the people who came to the festival at Tabernacle Church in South Haven. And I just wanted to share some of that weekend and some of the things that I shared here on YouTube as well. The setup was wonderful, and they made sure that I had everything I needed. Going into this, I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I really enjoyed the format of it all, and the turnout was more than I could have imagined. I would have been satisfied and overjoyed if just one person gained something meaningful from this event, but I had the privilege of talking to over 20 people who were very engaging and full of questions. I had visitors from the first day come back the second day for follow-up conversation, and I even got a chance to talk to little kids. I had a really great time. It was a really nice experience, and I look forward to doing more things like this in the future. I made a smoothie video especially for the presentation and the people that I would be speaking to at the festival, and it can be found on the channel. I love making raw vegan ice cream and smoothie bowls, and the first one is made from frozen strawberries, and I probably put a little bit of frozen banana in there as well. Then I have a nice chocolate drizzle over the top of that, and then I sprinkled hemp seeds for a little bit of crunch, and hemp seeds are a great source of protein. And so secondly, this is a spirulina flavored ice cream made from frozen bananas. And as you can see, I have a little chocolate drizzle on that as well, and some fresh strawberries and fresh bananas and walnuts. And then we just have another smoothie bowl made from frozen mixed fruits. There's a mixed fruit medley that I like to get from the grocery store, and that's one that I like to make into a smoothie bowl or ice cream as well. And we have some various nuts and seeds sprinkled over top of that, and of course some more chocolate drizzle. I like to make my chocolate drizzle from honey and cacao powder, and then I add a little bit of salt. Okay, so my mom is really good at making sherbet inspired smoothie bowls. She mostly uses frozen tropical fruits, and I find that those really help accomplish that sherbet taste. Now on this side we have more of a banana split flavored ice cream. The base is frozen bananas, vanilla powder, a little dash of salt. Sometimes I add a little bit of cashew butter for texture. Then I drizzled chocolate over the top of that and topped it with peanuts. Now, if you're not a fan of bananas, another way to make raw vegan ice cream is to use cashews. So what you can do is you can soak the cashews overnight or for 8 hours or so, and then drain them. Then blend it until it's smooth and creamy. Then you can add your flavors and whatever it is that you're desiring for your ice cream, and then freeze it and then enjoy. Okay, so here we have pumpkin cookies. You can find these on my Instagram. And then the carrot cake, the raw vegan no bake carrot cake. This is one of my favorite of the cakes that I've made. It was moist, it was decadent, the flavors were amazing. The base is carrot, and I topped it with different nuts and seeds, pistachios even. Now here, another thing that's fun about my raw vegan journey is that I will set out to make one thing, and sometimes I arrive at a completely different dish. And so in this case, I was actually trying to make some sweet potato hamburger buns, but what I made ended up tasting like beignets. So I just went ahead and put some vanilla powder on top of it, the same way you would powdered sugar on a beignet or a funnel cake, and it was just really good. So this brand that I use of vanilla powder, we get ours from our local H-E-B. Now I know everyone doesn't have H-E-B, but if you check your local grocery store in the baking section, or maybe a health food store or a store with a lot of gourmet foods, try looking in the baking section, or you might have to order it online. Just look for real vanilla powder, and the only ingredient should be vanilla. It's really great for replacing powdered sugar, and the flavor is just amazing for all different kinds of desserts, teas, smoothies, shakes. So many great things that you can do with vanilla powder. And to the right we have some raw vegan pancakes, lots of that on my Instagram and more to come. Here we have some raw vegan chocolate. This one is a freezer setting raw vegan chocolate. So I actually used cacao powder and honey and a little bit of salt, and then I added my chocolates. I also like to use avocado. So I'll just add cacao powder, sweetener of my choice, a little dash of salt to the avocado. Sometimes I add a little bit of nut milk, vanilla powder, sometimes vanilla protein powder to give it that milk chocolate taste. And then I sprinkle my toppings on, and then I put it in the freezer. And then the back row is actually raw vegan Reese's, which I'll be making more of those because I've really been craving those lately. This is a raw vegan chocolate cake that I made for my mom on her birthday. She really enjoyed it. My cousins tried it and my aunt tried it, and they said it actually tastes like real cake. So I was very happy about that. I'll be sharing more of my cake videos soon as well. This is a chocolate cream pie made from avocados. Avocados are a superfood, and so for those of you who may not like avocados, if you season this right, you can't even really taste that it's avocados. I use avocados, I add cacao powder, I add a sweetener of my choice, a little bit of salt, and then I sprinkle nuts on top. The crust is up to you. I like to use walnuts, pecans, sometimes dates for my crust. I also like to use almond flour from time to time with my crust. Then you just put it in the freezer and you let it firm and set, and then you take it out and you enjoy it. We have a lot of raisins and dried fruit nut mixes, so I use some of those to make these fruit nut bars, and I put them in the processor, and I really just kind of eyeball it and just put what I want until the texture looks right to me. And so for more firmer textures, you might want to add a little bit more nuts. But for more chewy, candy-like textures, you might want to add more dried fruits. And over here, like I said, is a mystery dessert. I don't really know what this is or what to call it, but I know I was trying to make cinnamon rolls, and then it just turned into something else that was actually really good, but I just don't know how to describe it. But it is cinnamony in nature, and then I just added some nuts to it. And there were also some nuts inside of it as well. One of them I did the nuts on the inside, and one of them I did no nuts on the inside. And it kind of made me think of some of those cinnamon rolls that have the nuts intertwined throughout. And here we have some Oreo cookies. I was really craving Oreo cookies. And then we have some almond cookies, and these were really good. They were kind of like sugar cookies, soft bake sugar cookies. But of course these are not baked, these are raw vegan. To get them to firm, I put them in the dehydrator. This is my fried chicken alternative. A lot of people were interested in this because they said it actually looked like chicken, and that's because of the lion's mane. The lion's mane mushroom has a really great mock chicken texture, and so yeah, that was fun to talk about. And the pizzas, of course. Before we get into the pizzas and the breads, let's talk about the dehydrator. The dehydrator is an appliance that I started using once I went raw vegan. A dehydrator is a small electrical appliance that dries food by removing water with warm air. Dehydrators accomplish the process of removing moisture from food without cooking it. This is great for preserving food, maintaining nutritional value, intensifying flavor, and changing the textures of the food to accomplish more baked, cooked-like textures. I have a lot of recipes where I place my dough into the dehydrator and I dehydrate it for a certain amount of time to get a certain desired result. The time and textures vary from my pizza crust, bread, wraps, pancakes, cakes, and so on. This video is up on the channel. It's actually in one of the vlog videos, but I have the chapters, so if you just want the pizza recipe, you can skip to it. So this raw vegan pizza has an almond flour crust with a cashew alfredo cheese sauce. And then we have some dehydrated pizza toppings. We have mushroom, cabbage, spinach. And what I love about the dehydrator is you can put your fresh vegetables in there, you can season them up, add your seasoning, add a little bit of oil, lemon juice, vinaigrette, whatever. If there's a marinade that you would like, and then put that into the dehydrator, and it gives it that sauteed vegetable texture. And I love to do that with my pizza toppings, but I also like my pizza toppings fresh. And so with this garden flatbread pizza, I kind of stayed on the fresher side of things, but I did marinate my greens. When you go to the post on Instagram, you can see in the later slides that I added avocado and a chicken alternative on top. It was inspired by a flatbread pizza that I actually saw at one of the movie theaters that we like to go to. It's one of the movie theaters where they feed you food while you're watching the movie, where you can order food and stuff like that. And they had this flatbread pizza that looked so good to me. And so I came back home and I recreated it the raw vegan way. And that's how a lot of my recipes come about, is me trying to recreate something that looks really good to me that I can't eat. And so I try to go home and find a way to make it in a way that's suitable for what I'm trying to do and my health and whatnot. And so this is broccoli pizza. For a period in time, my sister was ordering pizzas with broccoli on it. She was getting broccoli on her pizza. Every time we got pizza, she got broccoli on her pizza. And so I had never done that before, so I wanted to try it. And I made this broccoli pizza. And this crust is actually made from carrots, nuts, zucchini, and a little bit of avocado, actually. And then the toppings, tomato, broccoli, bell peppers, and hemp seeds. It was so good. Now this is another pizza that I tried to stay on the fresher side with my toppings, and it was actually really good. And I find that olives really help bring out that pizza flavor on with the raw vegan pizza. Adding the olives really brings out that pizza flavor. And I find with being raw vegan and trying to recreate certain dishes, it's the flavor and it's the texture. And so sometimes it can be challenging to get the flavors and textures that are what you're looking for. And so the olives really helped with that. This crust is made out of carrot. And we have some almond cheese, red bell peppers, and of course, green olive. Okay, so this is probably one of my favorite pizzas of the pieces that I've made. This is a sweet potato crust. We have some mushrooms, sun-dried tomatoes, spinach, pineapple, bell peppers. I love putting pineapples on pizza. It's one of my favorite toppings. And you know how they have that garlic butter that you find at a lot of pizza delivery places? This is my take on that here in the center. It was so delicious, and I added fresh dill to it, and that was just wow. This is the personal pan pizza. I used to love the pizzas at Pizza Hut, the personal pan cheese pizza at Pizza Hut. And so this is me trying to recreate that, and I love this so much. This was made actually with my almond cheese instead of my cashew cheese, and then I put pea shoots on the top, which was really good. And so another question that I got when I was talking to people at the festival was like about pricing and, you know, how much it costs to buy foods to do the raw vegan thing. And I know healthy food can get expensive, but with me, something I like to do is I like to work with the abundance that I have. So whatever is abundant in the kitchen, I'll kind of make a game of it, kind of like MasterChef. For those of you who've seen MasterChef, when they give them random ingredients and they have to create a whole meal around those random ingredients. So that's what I do. I base it off of whatever's abundant in the kitchen, and then I kind of make a game of it, and I'm like, okay, I got sweet potatoes, I got cucumbers, so what can I make? And so I just base it off of whatever I have available. And at this time, when it came to garnishing my pizza, all I had was pea shoots, and so that's what I used, and it was actually really good. So this first one is my banana cornbread. Now this is my blueberry lemon loaf, carrot praline pecan raisin bread. And with this, I was thinking about those breads that you see in the store that have the raisins in them. And then this is a cucumber bread. I'm demonstrating how soft it is, because that was a big milestone for me, is being able to make soft raw vegan bread. This is soft, no bake, raw vegan bread. And so it took me a while to get to that bread texture. And so this was really great. This was a really great accomplishment. And this also came from one of those weekends where I just used the abundance of what I had, and I ended up making a cucumber bread. We had so many cucumbers that we didn't know what to do with, so I decided to make a bread out of the cucumbers. Okay, so this is my take on like raw vegan croissants. Now, it's not as fluffy as the baked croissants, but it was really good and really delicious. And I filled it with like a Gouda flavored almond cheese. I was really happy with the way it came out. And then here is a pecan bread, and on the outside I covered it with chia seeds. And it kind of made me think of those breads that have like the oats and the grains on the outside. And chia seeds are actually really high in calcium. And so about 6 tablespoons for me at my age, height, and weight, about 6 tablespoons would reach my recommended daily value of calcium. However, I don't really eat chia seeds like that unless I'm eating a chia seed pudding or if I'm doing chia seed crackers. So that's another thing I like to do. I work with my doctor as well, and just finding out what foods are high in whatever I'm needing or wanting to keep in my regimen, or whatever vitamins I may need. And I try to find realistic ways to work those into my routine. And so for me, I'm not big on chia seed pudding, but I do love crackers and I do love to snack. Chia seed make a really crispy, crunchy cracker, and it kind of reminds me of the crunch on the Lay's potato chips. Chia seeds are really great for that as well, but I would say you want the gel to be in there though. So like grind the chia seeds into a powder. You definitely want to add water so that it can get gelatinous, because when you dehydrate it in the dehydrator, that chia seed gel will definitely play a part in that crunch. This is pumpkin bread, another one of my favorites. This is carrot bread, and I just put oats on the outside, like the oat bread or the 9-grain oat bread. That's what I was thinking about. I know it looks very different than that, but it was pretty good. This is a quinoa bread, and I love this so much because I soaked and sprouted the quinoa. I love to soak my nuts, grains, and seeds, because a lot of nuts, grains, and seeds have insoluble fibers. It makes the nutrients in the nuts, grains, and seeds easier for you to consume and digest. And so when you soak them overnight or for several hours, it soaks off those insoluble fibers, and it also increases the nutrients that's available to you. So I like to soak my nuts, grains, and seeds. I also like to sprout my grains and beans and legumes, because this also increases the nutritional value. These are my red bell pepper breadsticks, and then I have a almond based cheese dip for them, and it's really delicious, and they're very soft, and I like to sprinkle bagel seasoning on top of them. Another great thing that red bell peppers are good for that I've learned on this journey is that red bell peppers are a natural decongestant. And so that time of the month comes when flu season and it starts to get cold and things of that nature, or even if I feel like I'm catching a cold, or if I have a cold, that congestion that you face a lot of times when you have a cold or a flu, or however, if you juice red bell peppers and drink it about 3 times a day, is what I usually do. You do what's best for you, do your research, pray about it, talk to your doctor. But I drink the juiced red bell peppers about 3 times a day, and it helps to alleviate that congestion, and it causes the mucus and the phlegm to dispel from the body. If you don't have a juicer, you can also take a red bell pepper and blend it into 1 bottle of water or a half bottle of water, depending on the size of the red bell pepper. you can experience some of the same benefits by blending it into water. You might need to strain it, but if you can handle it, then go for it. Another alternative is to do red bell pepper soup. Now, I feel like there will be more nutrients available to you if it's raw, but if you're not into the raw and maybe you just don't have access to blenders and juicers, you can also make a red bell pepper soup that will also benefit you and help with decongestion. This is a red lentil seed bread, and below it is a multi-nut and seed bread. Now this red lentil bread, it kind of tastes like a Mediterranean bread. It's very good. I love breads that are made from beans and grains and legumes and things of that nature. I love the texture and the flavor of breads that are made from legumes and beans, and so I really enjoy this bread. It's high in protein. Another great thing you can do with red lentils is you can soak them overnight and then drain that excess water, and then you can blend it in the blender, add a little bit of water, seasoning, garlic, lemon juice, and just season it to taste. One of the things I like to do is make a red lentil Alfredo sauce and pour it over my kelp noodles. So delicious. This multi-nut and seed bread is great because I soaked, and you can also sprout chia seeds, and so that's something I like to do. Sometimes I don't feel like doing it because sometimes sprouting is specific. Certain grains and seeds, it's specific to successfully sprout them. Now, there's some great people on YouTube who have done some really amazing videos and really simplified the sprouting process for certain nuts and seeds. But one of my go-tos for sprouting is chickpeas and quinoa because they're just really easy to soak and sprout. Also, green split peas and mung beans. It's hard to mess that up. Now, some of the other nuts and seeds, it can get a little specific. Now this is a flaxseed oat bread, very delicious, and sometimes I like to mix in some herbs, fresh herbs or greens, spinach, things of that nature into my dough. And then when I dehydrate the bread, I just love the pretty colors of the herbs and greens, and it's good for you too. So tacos. My mom is responsible for a lot of the tacos you see on my channel, and she makes really great meat alternatives, and the flavors and the textures are just so close to like real taco meat, and so I really enjoy when my mom makes those. More of those videos to come. You can find a lot more of these on my Instagram. Snacks. Okay, as you can see, I like peanut butter, so a lot of fruit and nut butter combination. And then here on the third picture, we have a raw vegan buckwheat granola that I make with nuts and seeds and buckwheat. And you can flavor it and season it however you want, whatever flavors you're going for. That's what I love about this. It's raw, and then I can just choose how I want it to taste. I can eat it as a snack, or I can add it to milk and eat it like a cereal. And another favorite is to use my raw vegan bread and put peanut butter on it, and then frozen bananas, honey on top of that. And it's just something about the frozen bananas. I can't eat like a banana sandwich with like raw bananas. The texture is just too much for me. But when the banana slices are frozen and then there's honey on top and then peanut butter at the bottom and then the bread, and then here is so cute to me, this little apple sandwich. I like to take slices of apples and then just put peanut butter in the center and then eat it like a little sandwich. And the apple kind of reminds me of like apple jelly, just that fruit flavor that many of us like with our peanut butter. And then here are those crackers that I was telling you about. You can find that on my YouTube if you scan that code and go to the chapter on chia seed crackers in that video. This is a raw vegan red onion bread sandwich, and we got some sprouts, we got a pepperoni, we got bell peppers. I'm going to share more about like the pepperonis that I like to make, and I make those in the dehydrator as well. And then here we have a flaxseed and onion wrap. These are so good and so easy to make. But if you don't have time to make wraps, or maybe you don't have a dehydrator, they have a lot of great wrap options online that you can order and have shipped to your house. We have a Central Market here in Texas. There's a couple Central Markets in Texas. You can also find raw vegan wraps in Central Market. And so this is my raw vegan sloppy joe, and the bread here is portobello mushroom. My portobello mushroom is mostly fresh. I put a little oil on the top and I sprinkled a little bit of chia seeds and flax seeds and a little bit of nutritional yeast. Now you can dehydrate this, or some of you who like to bake it, or put it on the stove top and things like that. There's so many things you can do with this, and so many directions you can go with the texture for hamburger buns, or if you want to do something different with it, like saute it up, marinate it. I've made like a meat alternative with it before, and I sprinkled it over like a salad. I marinated it in coconut aminos and I put it in the dehydrator, and it was just so wonderful. Kind of reminded me of a nice seasoned marinated piece of meat. And then I just put that on top of some spinach. I really enjoyed that. And on this raw vegan sloppy joe, I also have some coleslaw. Yeah, that was really good. This is a raw vegan carrot burger. This, I have it's carrot bread, sun-dried tomatoes, and a meat alternative, and some fresh spinach. And then I also had carrot juice, as you can see in the picture, because we had a lot of carrots, and so I juiced the carrots, and then I used the pulp from the juice to make carrot bread. I like to find other uses for the pulp and make a meal out of that as well. And so here is a more cozy, warm, filling dish. These are vegetable soups. So I use different vegetables. I really just kind of pick whatever I'm in the mood for, and then I blend it up. I add water, I add vegetables, I add seasoning, and it just depends on how thick I want my soup. And I base how much vegetables and how much water on that. And then I blend it till it's warm in my high-speed blender. And then I add my fresh vegetables. Here I have some mushrooms, some greens, some Brussels sprouts, tomatoes. I also have some sprouted mung beans. And so I like to add these to my soups as well. My mom adds them to her salad sometimes. And then over here I have hot sauce. I like to add hot sauce to my soups. Most of my soups, I like them spicy. Okay, so here are some meals that are more on the hearty side, more filling, feel fuller for longer. So here I have some carrot crackers, some sun-dried tomatoes that I made myself in the dehydrator, so I guess dehydrator dried tomatoes, some fresh spinach, and here we have a veggie pulp patty. Now this patty was actually toasted in the oven. I juiced a variety of vegetables. I used the pulp, I seasoned it, and I put it into these little patties. I dehydrated some and I put some in the oven to see how it would come out. And so this is another great thing you can do with your pulp if you do a lot of juicing. One of the things I like to do with the pulp is to, make other things. Make breads, make veggie patties, casseroles. I have an omelet recipe. Here we have a variety of vegetables that I juiced, and then I used the pulp. I added some flaxseed meal. Then I added in some of the things that I like to put in my omelets when I used to eat omelets. Tomatoes, a little bit of onion, spinach. If I had mushrooms, I definitely would have put mushrooms in there. Put all of that together, flaxseed meal as the binder. And they also have this something called black salt that seasons things and makes it taste like eggs. And then I just added I have some picante sauce on the side and some avocados. Now this is a bowl of grains, brown rice, wild rice. I also like to soak my sunflower seeds and add those to my grain. We got some fresh kale and some fresh tomatoes on the side. Now, I rarely like to just sit and eat raw vegetables like this. I like to find creative ways other than salad to mix my raw vegetables together, because I'm not really a big salad person, but I more so like restaurants that really cater to salad, where you can just kind of pick all the stuff you want to put in your salad. I also like Mediterranean salads, but when I am in the mood to just sit and eat cut fresh vegetables without doing anything else to them, I'll make a dip and then I'll dip them in. So here we have some bell peppers and tomatoes, and I have an avocado dip, and I'll usually have some fresh fruit with that as well, and then a beverage. Here we have lemon water. I love lemon water when it's really cold. Veggie soup with some greens, sweet potato hush puppies, carrot beet crackers, and then this is red pepper cilantro hummus. And chickpeas are a favorite too. They're a great source of protein. I know a lot of people are concerned about protein. When I talk to people about being raw vegan, they usually ask me about protein. A great source of protein is chickpeas, beans, legumes, nuts. Avocado is a good healthy fat, and oils are a good healthy fat. So there are some really great healthy fats within the raw vegan lifestyle, and there's some really great proteins. The wonderful thing about the beans and the chickpeas is you can soak them, you can sprout them, and increase the nutritional value. Just 1 cup of chickpeas is like 39 grams of protein. Most hummuses are made from cooked boiled chickpeas, but you can make a really great hummus with raw chickpeas as well. You just want to soak them, sprout them if you choose, and then for me, I like to freeze them and then thaw them out. If you want a smoother hummus, you can pluck them out of the little skins, but if you don't really care, then you can just blend it all together until it's smooth and add in your different seasonings and flavors, vinegar, balsamic vinegar, however, and then season it however you like. One of the things I like about hummus is all the different flavor directions you can go. I love when I go in the store and I see those little variety packs of hummus with all the different flavors. That's something I like to do as well, because sometimes I can't choose which flavor of hummus I want, and so I'll make a couple different flavors and see which one is my favorite. I also have a video up on the channel about bitter melon. Bitter melon is really great for regulating blood sugar. My grandmother was diagnosed with diabetes, and some of the medication for diabetes can come with a lot of side effects. And so we actually found bitter melon and we juice it. My grandmother takes about 2 shots a day, and it helps regulate blood sugar the same way the medicine would. But of course, consult your doctor, do your research, pray. Make sure that you're informed and educated before you implement these things into your regimen to see if it's best for you, if it works for you. And you also want to be mindful about how things work with your medication. And if you're trying to get off medication, you want to be educated and informed about your path forward if you're going to be stopping your medication to start implementing new things. We also got a chance to visit one of my favorite raw vegan food trucks in Memphis. Actually, I think it might be the only one right now, but hopefully in time that will change. There's also a really nice vegan restaurant in Memphis called Imagine Cafe.